Hello, I'm Ilana Goldman, and I'm Cantor at Temple Emanu-El of Westfield, New Jersey. And I'd like to dedicate today's Torah study in memory of my grandfather, Marvin Goldman, Zichrono Livracha. Jews are often called the people of the book. Our connection and intimate reverence of the Torah defines our peoplehood. This week, in our studying of our book, we continue to read about the mishkan, the holy tabernacle, the Israelites' place of worship while they are on their way to the Holy Land. The temple is the exclusive domain of the high priest, and in Parshat Tetzaveh, meaning command, the details of the priest's sacred garments are described in intense detail. These garments of the priests are meant to stand out. They are to be embroidered in blue, crimson, and purple. They're not to be somber or stiff, but rather to be bold and colorful, reminding us of the spiritual and dynamic sacred work. The priestly outfits include a breastpiece and a ephod, a robe, a fringed tunic, a headdress, and a sash. Complex ensembles. Wearing all of this garb, they can literally feel the weightiness of their duties. This Torah portion might be where the term men of cloth originates from. It is clear from this text that the clothing is essential to defining, identifying, and empowering the priests. Their clothing wraps them in holiness, makes them stand out, and reminds them of their sacred role in building a people and a faith. Fittingly, the Torah details that these garments are to be made specifically by people of skill. But how does the Torah define a person of skill? It uses the Hebrew chachmei lev, literally meaning wise of heart, whom God has filled with the spirit of wisdom. One person wise of heart, behind the men of the cloth, was my grandfather, Zichrono Livracha, Marvin Goldman. My grandfather owned a clerical clothing business in the garment district in New York City and worked every day up until he passed away at the age of 93. He inherited the business from his father, who was a first-generation immigrant from Russia. The small company found a niche in outfitting the priests and judges of New York City. Thousands of clergymen would turn to my grandfather to provide their vestments. People found it so funny that a small elderly Jewish man was the outfitter, the man behind the men of the cloth. However, Jews are no stranger to fashion. The year my grandfather was born, 1928, nearly all factories and workshops in the garment district were owned by Russian Jews, and 3/4 of the workforce were Jewish. Plus, this Torah portion shows it was within my grandfather's DNA to outfit the priests. Parshat Tetzaveh proves it is threaded throughout our Jewish story. It wasn't easy, though. My grandfather would often describe the fear and burden he felt after being handed a business he knew nothing about. He said, "I was a Jewish kid from Brooklyn. What did I know from Roman Catholic clergy?" But he learned, and he became the expert. He learned to differentiate a zucchetto from a burrito, an alb from a cassock, etc. He gained an encyclopedic knowledge of what is appropriate for each Christian denomination. He felt with all his being that his work was holy work. In his 60-plus years of working, his love, humor, and wit was literally sewn into the fabric of countless clergy seeking to make the world a more whole place. And Marvin had a way of making every customer feel special and important. He was chachmei lev, wise of heart, gifted by God, and so he was a gift to everyone he met. So while this week's parasha is about a nation of priests, may his memory be a reminder that each of us has an essential role to play in creating a nation of holiness. Thank you so much.